And time to focus in on netball now, where the SPAR Proteas have been in Liverpool since Sunday the 7th of July after spending a week in Wales and playing 2 matches there as part of their World Cup preparations. The tournament begins this evening and South Africa have a busy weekend ahead of them. Trinidad and Tobago, they go up against them first, then it's Fiji tomorrow before facing off with Jamaica on Sunday. Norma Plummers' side beat Wales comprehensively in the 2 tests that were preparation for the World Cup. First with a scoreline of 84-32, then 79-44. To speak a little bit more about the World Cup is National Under-21 coach Dr. Elsje Jordaan. A very good morning and welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Valen. Thank you.
There's a lot of expectation on this team. Just last night I heard our Minister of Sport, Natim Tetwa, who is in England to receive the baton for the country as the next hosts of the Netball World Cup, saying that they are our last hope.
Yes, well, look, you don't win a World Cup building up in a month's time. It's been 4 years coming for this team. And starting this year, we started to show really good results against the top 3. So, yes, the expectations is high, but the pressure is also there. You know, World Cup, everybody comes with the strongest team, well prepared. And we'll have to wait and see. We've got Jamaica, who's the number 2 in the world in our pool, which is going to be a challenge and a tough game on Sunday.
That game against Jamaica is key. We've met them 4 times at the World Cup, only won 1 before.
Yeah, look, they're beautiful athletes, the Jamaicans, and they've got such tall players in their circles, which is always a struggle. And like I say, they are the 2nd in the world, and they have currently 4 or 5 players in the Australian League as well. So it's going to be tough. And luckily, with the change in the draw of the World Cup, if we lose them, worst case scenario, we lose them, we will go into a pool with England and Jamaica again as the 2nd preliminary phase, and then we'll have to see if we can beat one of the 2 of them to advance to the semis.
It is a new format that we're seeing for a World Cup, and I must say for a big international tournament it's quite an interesting format that they actually have. So they've got this preliminary round 1, preliminary round 2 before we even reach the semi-finals and the actual knockout stages of the competition. So it's very likely that we're going to have 2 teams from Group C that we would have met in Group C actually in the preliminary phase 2 round 2.
Yeah, look, I think the thinking behind it is that the top countries need to play one another earlier in the tournament just to get the interest going, because it tends to fall back into the last weekend where everybody waits for the semi-finals where the top 4 take each other, whilst now they will meet one another much earlier in the week, and I think it's great for netball. Sadly for us it's a tough draw, and like I say, there's 3 top teams going into that 2nd preliminary phase, which will be us, England and Jamaica. And one of the 3 can't make it to the semi-final.
Yeah. What, as a coach, I mean, you've worked so closely alongside our senior team, what would Norma Plummer be thinking, bearing in mind it is tournament netball, bearing in mind that you've only got a squad of so many players and you have to manage them really well, and the fact that you're going to meet top sides from the word go right up until a medal match?
Look, I think the one thing that she might feel that she's a bit thin on is our bench players or our 2nd lineup. Look, our top 7 compares with the best in the world, but going into a World Cup you can't play with only 7 players. So the challenge will be for her to manage the players well, to make sure throughout the World Cup she can keep the starting 7 fresh and ready to take on the best teams, but also not losing momentum and rhythm. So it's quite a tough way she's going to approach the tournament, and I think that must be one of her concerns, knowing that the bench is not as strong as she would have maybe loved at this stage.
Yeah, and one of those bench players would have been Inamiri Fenta, unfortunately getting injured and having to be sent home. Yeah,
absolutely. I feel so sorry for Ina. You know, she's been playing really good netball over the last 2 years, and she became a very core member of the starting setup, and it's a great loss for us. So I don't know what it is with us and shooter injuries going into the big tournaments. Commonwealth, it was the same thing with losing Lenise. But look, that's sport for you, and luckily it's not a one-man's game, it's a team sport, and I'm sure the rest of them is ready to step up, and it's another great opportunity for Ziggy, who's been in England this year as well. So we'll have to wait and see, but it's a tough ask, and obviously we all want to break into that top 4 in the world, and guess we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen.
Do you believe South Africa will be able to win a medal at the World Cup?
Look, I want to believe it with all my heart, and I do believe, and we do support the girls, but I think it's going to be tough. Yeah, look, my best predictions for me is I think if a lot of things go right for us, we might break into the top 4. And once you're in the top 4, anything can happen. You know, on the day, in the game, I think England proved that in the Commonwealth. You know, they just beaten Jamaica in the semi, and then they went on to win the gold. Whilst going into the tournament, they were definitely not the team on form. So, team sports, anything can happen, and a lot of things must work out for you. And but that's the excitement of it. I think the Cricket World Cup just taught us that as well. Yeah. You know, so hard lessons in team sport, and it's a bunch of individuals that need to fire at the same time. So we'll have to wait and see.
All right, thank you very much. That's Dr. Elsje Jordaan, who is the head coach of our national under-21 team. They're currently in camp, and they've got their eyes focused on the global under-21 Netball World Cup that they are busy preparing for. So we wish you and the team all the best of luck. Thanks for coming on to Morning
Thank you
Live.
so much. Thank
and
you.
All the best of luck to our senior national team. They get their World Cup campaign underway this evening against Trinidad and Tobago. Time now for us to take a quick